All right. So this is our Cleveland, Ohio Developer Group. Welcome everyone. For those of you who are local to the area, we're happy to have you. For those of you who aren't, we're happy to have you too. Thank you for coming, no matter what time it is where you're at. Hopefully it's not as early as it is here. I'm Linda Kane. I'm one of our co-leaders. I'm also a platform champion. Our other co-leader is Orlando Bruseno Gomez. One of these days, we're going to get him to be a champion of something. Definitely.
Yeah, he'd like that.
So our session today is Get Certified. We have a panel of 4 from our local community, all of whom got certifications within the last year. I'll be moderating the panel, mostly because my last certification is definitely not within the last year. We are recording. The recording will be posted to YouTube today, sometime, hopefully not too late. During the panel, I ask that you mute yourself and ask questions in the chat if you have any. And there is a swag drawing thing happening. I will present a link at some point with a little form to sign up for it. There's swag that are stickers that'll be mailed out. And then the drawing itself, yes, is for vouchers for certification. We have a number of them. I am reserving at least 2 of those for people who are local to Ohio, because we are a local user group, but the remainder are available to anyone who attends. So, and we will be sending out emailing the winners after the event. I don't want to have to muddle things while we're in the middle of panel discussions or questions trying to figure out who won. So Orlando and I will take care of that at the end and then email people like right away. When you're ready to do your due diligence, go get that. Just some upcoming events in our area. On March 24th, the Cleveland user and WIT groups are having a session on the spring release. One of our panelists is one of the leaders of the WIT group, so we're happy to have her today. And our usual Cleveland Salesforce Saturdays that I host, those are the next upcoming dates. And I leave signups at Eventbrite, and I usually post them on both Twitter and LinkedIn, so you can sign up without any problems. If you're ever interested in getting involved with our group, we welcome having presenters. We know not everyone wants to hear from me in Orlando all the time. So if you've got a cool topic or even just a fun topic, we welcome you to let us know and we'd be happy to have you. So that is it for the slides. So I'm going to stop the share. I need to take care of pinning, which takes me a little bit. So, and I'm not pinning myself. I gotta find Mike. Mike is here somewhere. All right. So our panel today, I'm staying off the spotlight because it looks more even when there's only 4. You guys are gonna not like me, but that's okay. So I think we're gonna go around, Robin, and do some quick introductions. So let's give obviously how many certifications you have that are Salesforce. Let us know if you have any that aren't Salesforce, and what role you're working in today. You can share what company if you want to, you don't have to. So I'm going to let Laura kick it off.
Pick on me first, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Laura Royce. I'm also one of the leaders for the Cleveland Women in Tech group. So yeah, if anybody wants to join our meeting 2 weeks, please sign up. And I have 7 Salesforce certifications currently. A number of them I've gotten in the last year. Actually, I was very busy in 2020, as if the pandemic wasn't enough, right? I do not have any certifications outside of Salesforce, but I have thought about getting Agile certified, since that is very common practices now, especially with software development and things like that. A lot of companies are very interested in using that Agile development. So I was contemplating getting certified in Agile.
And you're currently working as an.
Oh, sorry, I missed that last one. Thank you, Linda. I am currently working as a Salesforce administrator. I've had a number of different Salesforce related jobs. I'd categorize myself more as a senior Salesforce administrator architect with what they're having me do, but my official title is Salesforce administrator with them. So.
All right, so we're going to jump down to Mike next.
Well, Linda, you haven't been my favorite fan this week. I was prepared for this. But with kidding aside, yeah, I'm Mike DeRosso. I'm here in the Cleveland area. I am a Salesforce admin for a company called Onyx Networking, which is here in the Cleveland area. And I do have 6 certifications. Can't believe I'm up that far so far. Excited to bang out those certifications. I've been in the Salesforce admin role for about 3 years now. And yeah, just like Laura said, it feels like you're wearing many hats. Usually when you're the one person on the team is working for a small business here in Cleveland, so you're wearing many hats. I'm a solo admin, so yeah, like I said, you're doing many roles, it feels like at one time. So but again, with kidding aside, Linda, thanks for having me. Super honored to be on the panel this morning. Thank you.
Like I can avoid you. All right, Orlando, you need to unmute.
Well, hi everybody. I'm Orlando Briseño. I'm a co-lead in for this group, the Cleveland Salesforce Developer Group. I'm currently a lead Salesforce developer in a big consulting company, Capgemini. Before that, I was a Salesforce developer in a big multinational company headquartered here in Cleveland, Sherwin-Williams. I have 3 Salesforce certifications. I don't know. We could call the triumvirate or the trifecta: admin, platform app builder, and Dev 1. Aside of that, recently I got a couple of non-Salesforce certifications, but still within the ecosystem. Copado admin and MuleSoft developer. I do have a soft spot in my heart for DevOps and also for integration. So I think those go really well with to be more well-rounded.
Cool. All right, Armando, it's your turn.
Hey everybody, my name is Armando Velez. I currently hold 1 certification, the Salesforce Administrator. I just got it in August of last year, I'm sorry. I am the CRM Administrator for a company called Lifeline Screening, the solo admin there. Been there about 6 months. And yeah, I'm the solo admin for Salesforce, doing everything, and been enjoying it for the past 6 months. So.
All right, so that's our panelists. Thank you guys for joining me today. I'm very happy you guys were all here. I wanted to get a good mix of our local community. I think we achieved it. So the first question on my list, and if you want to answer and I didn't call on you, please like wave or something so that I see it. So our first question: what resources did you use to help you prepare for your exam? I know you're all thinking really hard. Go ahead, Orlando.
I can take that one to start. I was fortunate enough or lucky enough that in the company I'm working for, which is a Salesforce partner, seems like they have a lot of resources available. There's training everywhere, and I took advantage of trainings for the 2 non-Salesforce certifications that I recently got. There was Copado training, they were day-long trainings for admin and for developer. I took both of them, and with that I was able to pass the Copado admin certification. The developer one I didn't pass, but this is interesting. They give you a second chance, so I need to re-prepare for that one. And it was similar for MuleSoft. For that, there was a week-long training, which was great. It was so interesting. I've been always interested in MuleSoft, and I learned a lot with that. So yeah, live training, it's kind of like the best. But for Salesforce certifications, you know, Trailhead and focus on force and hands-on experience. That's been it.
Yeah, Linda, I do similar to what Orlando said as far as the Salesforce certifications. My routine is pretty much the same. I'll go ahead into Trailhead and look for the trail mixes that are specifically designed for the certification, right? And then once I complete that, then I'll hop over to focus on force and use the exam guide there, and then also the practice exams. So that's usually, my routine there to kind of follow what Orlando was saying as far as the Salesforce certifications. So for PD1, that was a little bit different, right? I used Pluralsight for training on that one, where that's, I think David Liu kind of directs you to that, to learn Apex and triggers and those things. So I'm sure there's more questions around PD1. So I'll pause there, but yeah, that's typically my routine there.
Yeah, I kind of fall in line with a lot of that too. Those trail mixes on Trailhead are really good. I like to read through the study guide too that Salesforce posts, because that can give me kind of a quick assessment of, how well do I think I know the material already, because they break down those topics. So I'd like, as much as we're into technology, I really like to print it out and go through with a highlighter and mark it up, like which areas do I really need to focus on. And then, yeah, I like those. I think Focus on Force has a good set of tests. There are some other sites out there if that's not your cup of tea. You need to watch out for them though, because sometimes there's wrong answers because they can only keep up with the releases so much. So it is really important to kind of fact check some of that stuff. But I particularly like it because it gets my head in that mindset of the questions. Because Salesforce is really going to try to trip you up on some of those questions. So I found that their test did a particularly good job of just preparing my brain to think in the way that Salesforce writes their questions. And I think that's probably helped me on some of the more difficult tests, especially the PD1. That one was probably I think is the most difficult of the ones that I took, because there's so much on there, covers such a broad spectrum of things. And then I also took during the certification days, they had one of the platform developer courses was on sale. So it actually ended up being like the same price as the certification, and you get a voucher for it. So I was like, oh, it's like paying for my certification and getting a free class out of it. So that was helpful. The person that led it, so you'll get different teachers depending on which one you sign up for, but the person that led it, I thought did a very good job. And she actually mentioned, like, you're going to want to pay attention to this because there are a number of questions about this topic. Like, I can't tell you what the questions are, but you'll want to focus on these kinds of things. Or she'll let you know about a couple of gotchas, like, there's one question about this, or there's things like that. So I thought that was helpful, having in kind of a person resource instead of just the, technology ones with, the study guides and Trailhead and that kind of stuff. So that was nice.
Armando.
Hey, so for me, I used Focus on Force. I was a part of Pep Up Tech, which helps underrepresented individuals get into tech, get into Salesforce. I used Trailhead a lot, teaching myself, and I think the exam guide really helped me structure how and what they want you to know. So after I studied that exam guide, I think that is what put me over the edge, because it tells you exactly what's going to be on the test. So I would say that, and support from my community group, support from friends. They really push you over the top. So
Orlando, did you have something to add?
Yeah. I wanted to ask Laura, the resource that you got during certification days, what was the boot camp?
Yeah, it was the boot camp. Thank you. I couldn't think of, it wasn't the course, but yeah, it was the boot camp, and it was a combination of like the instructor led, there was readings, there were Trailhead badges, and then the person that I had also made practice quizzes for us.
Oh,
that
nice.
I don't know that all of the instructors do that, but she made practice quizzes that we could take to kind of gauge some of our knowledge on the different areas as she was going through the sessions.
It's pretty cool. I also took one of those also for platform developer one. The curious thing on my case was that I already had that certification, but like you said, it was on sale from like 1,000 to 200, and you also got the voucher for a cert. So I was like, why not take it, reaffirm the knowledge, and you'll get a certification voucher. So it was pretty good. We got Clara Perez to lead that one. It was a good experience.
So during your path to certification, did you experience any setbacks, and how did you deal with them, and how did you keep your motivation going when you had those? So actually, I'm going to ask I'm going to ask Armando to start this time.
Yeah, I had a couple setbacks. I didn't pass the test 2 times. I was very, very close, maybe 2 or 3 questions away both times. So it was just maybe me not catching some of the vocabulary. There's a lot to learn. So I think it was just me not actually knowing the verbiage. And when I learned that, and I could differentiate what this is from what that is, that really put me over the edge and helped me pass. Also, just getting help from others, when you don't know something, just ask. The community's there for you, they're gonna help you, they want you to succeed. So getting support from everybody is gonna push you over the edge and motivate you even more, because they want to see you do good. So that's what really helped me.
Thank you.
Yeah, Linda, I'll add to that one too. Yeah, that was the PD1 was probably my most challenging certification, just because it was a totally out of my skill set type of exam. And when you fail, when I first experienced that was my first exam that I failed, and I got really, it shook me up a little bit. But and also too is you want to make sure that you're prepared 100% before going into the exam. So after failing exam, circle back around and try to focus on the areas that I struggled the most, right, in those key categories, and try to refine that and shoot for the second exam. And also, that didn't work. So I really had to reach out. The most useful was, I'm not going to name drop because I'm on the panel, but I have to, right? A lot of us are here because of Linda. But I needed some guidance as far as, like Armando said, as far as terminology, or just having a deeper understanding of something that is on paper, it doesn't really go down that rabbit hole a little bit far enough for you to understand, right? Like, so that was probably the hard part, because I felt like that I used all my resources at that second attempt. I didn't know what to do, so I didn't give up, and I kept going. And thankfully, Linda had some time to kind of just cover overarching questions that I had to get a better understanding that wasn't on paper. So, thanks, Linda.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just to add again, like, you could do anything you put your mind to. So you just got to think of it. It's just a test. Try to get to know everything you can about the information, and, give it your all, see where your weak points are. And, your family, your support, everybody's going to push you over the edge, and you'll be able to complete it. Just don't give up.
I have something to share on this topic, since I've been dealing with a lot of failure lately. So just a brief summary. I got my 3 Salesforce certs, and I passed them all on the first try, and I was happy for that. At the end of last year, and I didn't take any other certification. 2020 was rough for a lot of us, but I was like, I want to get JavaScript 1 certified. JavaScript has always been my white whale. Before Salesforce, I was a developer for a lot of years, but I'm more of a backend guy. And I was like, take the certification. And I studied, and oh, by the way, a resource that I used for JavaScript was Front-End Masters, which I found really cool. So I was studying, and I scheduled my test for December, like this December, like the 21st of December. And although I felt somewhat prepared, I knew I wasn't fully prepared, but regardless, I went for it. I wanted to see how I did. I didn't pass it. I didn't feel bad. In a way, it was like there was the chance to not pass. You were close, so keep preparing. And in a way, it was like ripping off a Band-Aid. In a way, is that a good analogy? Like, okay, before you always pass at the first try, you didn't, now you failed. It's like some pressure off your shoulders, like, okay, deal with the failure, prepare again, and retry. I haven't taken that certification yet. Work has been crazy. And also in this year, I took the MuleSoft training that I was talking about. And there I had failure also. We had the week-long training, and it was great. I really liked it. I was doing all the exercises. I felt comfortable. I did a lot of studying. After training, I spent another week preparing, took the test, and didn't pass. I was gonna start feeling bad about that one, because for that one I did feel prepared and still didn't pass. But MuleSoft was interesting that they give you two tries, and I started attending what they call office hours. You dial in and ask specific questions about the content of the training, and I knew which were my weak areas, some really specific subjects, and I focus on those ones. Re-prepared, retook the test, and passed. So I overcame that failure, and I got that shiny MuleSoft certification. Now I have to get back on studying for to retake the JavaScript cert.
So I know Laura passed all her tests, so I'm going to go on to the next question. So this is about when you took the actual test. So did you take the exam in person at a test center, or did you take it online proctored? I'm just gonna proceed that with, for those of you who aren't aware, they did soften the requirements for online proctored this year. In the past, you've always had to have 2 cameras, be in a very closed off room. And they have been, Salesforce and Web Assessor have been very understanding of the situation everyone's in and allowed, made more allowances. But there are also little caveats and experiences that people go through. So let's just go around, and what was that experience? Did you go to a test center? There are very few open right now, especially in our area. I think there's only one. Or did you take the test, at home or, at work? If you to go to it.
I'll go first. I took it online all 3 times, and it was good because you didn't have to have that extra camera. I didn't have my glasses on. I wore contacts, and I made sure I didn't look away at all, and I didn't get docked for anything. I just made sure I'm staring at the screen. I'm not looking around. I'm not trying to look for answers. I'm just reading the question. Not trying to move your lips and read the question with your lips. Just try to, stay focused, stare at the screen, answer your question, and just move on. And I didn't have any problems as far as like getting docked, but yeah, that was it.
Yes, I'll go next. I was laughing at what you said, Armando, because I've done both. I've done the in-person and the online, and I think it was the first or second one I did online. I didn't realize that I was like sort of reading the question out loud. Like it wasn't like talking voice like this, but there was a prompt that came on the screen that said you can't make any noise, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, you have to watch out for that for sure. But it was like, it made me panic that I'm like, oh no, are they going to cancel the test? Because I did that. But it was just, there was a little pop up, and then I was quiet the rest of the time, and I didn't move my mouth anymore. But yeah, it's kind of preference. And then especially with the pandemic, I would say it's easier now to take those online versus in person. Although the testing sites, I mean, call out to them. Because once they started reopening, I did call them and say, hey, what are your COVID procedures kind of thing, just so that, I was aware of what it was. And they had pretty solid procedures, but I still opted to take it online because just for simplicity, then I don't have to drive anywhere. I don't have to worry about, did they really wipe it down or not? And I've also got 3 little kids. So I think and they're at home right now. So I think my husband would have killed me if I disappeared for any longer than I had to, which is also why I scheduled them over nap time because then I didn't have to worry about a small child busting in the room. So if you ever see me like looking this way, it's somebody is getting close to the office door and I'm seeing if I'm going to get an intruder. You might have somebody else join the call as well.
So before I let Michael and Orlando answer, a couple comments in the chat mentioning that during the testing, they were asked to show their glasses. I know I've heard that from several people of having to take off their glasses, the exam actually being stopped to do that. And then when there's been technical difficulty, someone pointing out that contacting a web assessor support by chat is actually faster than trying to call the support number. It's good to know if you're in that situation. All right, Michael.
Yeah, I've taken all my exams at a testing site. I haven't done one online. I'm just afraid to do something wrong, right? I don't know if online they allow you to take a bathroom break. At the testing site, they let you step away because I'm all caffeined up. I use the restroom a couple of times. So I think it's probably that's my biggest fear of, you know, doing something that, you know, that you did by accident or something, whatever. And then technical issues. Yeah, you know, someone just brought up in the chat. When I was at the testing site for my PD1, the countdown was going. I was under that 1 minute, and I had a couple questions still to answer. So I was just clicking, and I hit submit when it went to 0, and it felt like the machine just froze on me. So we had to, you know, figure out what happened. So the testing site contacted support and maybe had to unlock something or whatever. But that was what happens when you hit 0, because it shut off and you don't hit submit, you know. So that's where I was kind of worried about some things happening to me at home. So all of mine have been on site, and I'm afraid to not get in that testing mode by staying at home, feeling comfortable, you know. And Laura made some great points about about not having to drive and things. And my drive's not too bad. It's maybe a 20-minute drive for me to get to a testing site. It has been a little bit different since COVID. It's taken a lot longer to check in that I've noticed. Usually before COVID, you got there, you checked right in a few minutes, and so sitting there and waiting has been a little bit annoying, but I don't know, maybe I'll get the courage and doing one online someday.
Yeah. I've done both for the three ones that I passed. It was pre-COVID, all on site. I have 2 testing centers at the same distance, like 30 minutes drive, but I've always gone to this particular one that I already know and feel comfortable at in Beechwood. The fourth test that I took there was a JavaScript one that that I didn't pass. It wasn't because of the COVID thing, but there are differences, like Mike was pointing out before. They will have like lockers for you to leave your car keys, your phone, and whatever you had in your pockets. But now, and I didn't know that they didn't mention it in their emails that they will no longer have that service. So you had to leave everything in your car. So I got there, and then I had to go back to my car to leave everything. So I lost some time there. In any event, yeah, I like taking tests on site. I think, I don't know. Silence is guaranteed pretty much, and that sort of things. I'm taking online tests for MuleSoft, not for Salesforce. The MuleSoft online proctor test, I don't know how similar it is to Salesforce, but yeah, I had to show all my room, the floor, the ceiling, my glasses to check that they're not some of those new smart glasses or something. I had to show my hands, both sides. What else? Yeah, that sort of thing. I couldn't have a drink with me in the testing centers. I go with a bottle of waters. What else? Yeah, not reading, and this concern is very real, Mike, of needing to go to the restroom. I know in the on-site test you can. I've never done it, but there's the possibility. But online, I don't think, or I don't know if it's at all possible. So overall, I think I like going to test centers better, but it's good to have the option.
Oh, one more thing, let me add, the software, you got to make sure the software, if you're doing it online, it's compatible with your computer, I think. Because Linda, I think you mentioned something like the software wouldn't work with certain computers, so.
Yeah, I have an older laptop and it won't install, so. For my personal machine, my work machine, it'll probably work on, but I'm still avoiding. So next question. overall, in the whole testing process and certification process, what did you find easiest and what was the hardest? So I'm going to let Orlando start.
What was the easiest and what was the hardest for?
Yeah.
This question has been the hardest.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it takes a toll on personal time. Lately, I've been working long hours. That's another topic, I guess. But on top of that, preparing for a certification, I'm like doing 10-ish hour a day between work and then being all tired and have to study. That's been hard. Usually that's not the case, but it's been lately. So yeah, that's taken a toll on my personal life. I guess. I guess then the easiest part, it's the I don't know, the learning. I love learning and studying. It's just been rough because of work. I don't know if that was a great answer, but that's how it's been for me lately.
So Mike.
Yeah, Linda, was the question around the easiest and hardest about this studying and preparing? And I didn't hear all.
Certification in general. What
Yeah,
have you found easiest and hardest?
I think I one of the reasons why I have been taking extra certifications, it's not a job requirement. I like what I learn. I get a much deeper knowledge base when I take a different certification, and I think that's probably my biggest motivator, because I want to have a strong understanding of all the things that that this Salesforce platform has the capability of doing, and how I troubleshoot or build something from scratch. What's the best approach? You hate getting finishing a project, and then you need to change it all up again because you may have found a better way of doing it, a much scalable way, a much manageable way. So for me, kind of leaning towards the easy part is that's studying and learning new skills is the easy part. The hard part is obviously when you fail is how do you overcome those hurdles, and I think we talked about that a bit, but I wanted to kind of go down that topic of learning those new things.
Laura.
I don't think there is an easiest part. I think the easiest thing is actually signing up for it, because you just need to pick a time that fits in your schedule. But yeah, probably one of the more enjoyable parts is exactly what Orlando and Michael said, that just learning those new skills, studying, preparing. I'm same way. I think a lot of us that are in these admin and developer roles kind of have that similar personality trait where we're curious and we like to learn. And the technology industry isn't something where you learn it once and that's it. You don't ever have to touch it again. It's not like math 2 + 2 will always be 4. This industry, things are constantly changing, so I like that. And I would say the hardest part is probably the first 10 questions of the exam. Right around when I hit question 10 is when those nerves finally settle down, and then I can kind of get through the rest of it. But I would say probably those first 10 questions, I'm still amped up and nervous. And so that's probably for me the hardest part, because I'm very much not an adrenaline junkie. I hate roller coasters. I hate that stuff. So I get really amped up and nervous leading up to the exams, but try to take a few deep breaths before I hit that start button. And yeah, right, probably around question 10 is where it calms down.
Right, Armando.
Like I said before, I think the most difficult part for me was understanding all of the verbiage, all the different terms that your Salesforce org has what it's capable of. That was probably my hardest part. The easiest, I would say, studying. Hey, it's easy. You can study all day. But I feel like if I would have understood more of what they were asking in the question, and when I was able to pick apart those Salesforce words that they had in the question and know what they mean, that's when I felt more comfortable in knowing, all the stuff that has to do with your admin role. So I could say that.
All right. So what effect has certification had on your career?
So as soon as I got a certification, I got a call back from a job that I interviewed with probably 6 months before I got the actual certification. So I don't know if that helped me or it was just a matter of time, but I do believe that companies look at your certifications because the Salesforce is so intricate. They want to see that you have that. So
Who wants to go next? Me, because I spoke. I guess for sure. Job and job. Yeah, I think that for sure help in any pre-job qualifications, even though it didn't get let you pick when you got a certification. So yeah, so swag driven studying is the best.
Yeah, Laura, I can go next if that's fine. To be honest with you, this was probably the a game changer, a life changer for me. I came from a non-tech background. I was in the banking industry for 13 years, and trying to make a career shift for me was 2 little kids and wife and a house and everything. It was it was a very difficult decision, but I was a branch manager for 10 years in the financial services business, and I just lost my passion in the banking world. I remember my young days, in my early days, and just lost the passion. And for many years, I heard of this Salesforce, right, and never knew what it was. At the current job I had, never used it. I did make a job change or from a different institution, and they use Salesforce, so I started to get a little bit more exposure to it, but never knew about the behind the scenes of this massive ecosystem of people and community and everything that's around it. And so, for me, my stress levels it's a different type of stress, right? It's you can know the distress and the anxiety that are the negative ones that you don't want. And I just had that too much. And my wife, she's in the kitchen right now. She's probably going to come in and close my mouth, but she's a nurse, and that's a very difficult and honorable profession. But she's studying Trailhead now. And just because the world it is that we're in, Salesforce, and the everyone being so supportive, and it's not like that everywhere else. It just isn't, and you can feel it. And so I'm super excited. Obviously I'm working from home. I've been working from home for a year now, and that's probably going to be a permanent role. And I'm totally looking forward to that. So yeah, for me, this has been a life changer for me for the past 3 years. So.
Yeah, and just to kind of play off of that, the certifications are important. I would say I also feel like I've never had a job where I was required to get one. Now, granted, I was an accidental admin for my my first role, so I didn't have a Salesforce certification for my first Salesforce role. Just kind of ended up as an admin, but got my certification there. So it was looking for that next position where having that certification was key in helping me with getting that and being successful during that interview process. But as for the rest of them, I mean, I did it more for me than anything else. It was also kind of a way to show like, hey, here's what I'm capable of. I now have this, thing that says I could do all the things that I've been doing in my role. So it was just another way to kind of show companies, like when you're interviewing and stuff, like, hey, this is what I'm capable of. So I kind of just, it was more for me than necessarily a career thing, but yeah, it was, I mean, I'm going to go get more and it's not because my company's requiring me to or anything like that, but I want to go get more certifications. And then I can't see the whole chat. Little windows will pop up occasionally. There's something going on with non-native English speakers. I learned something recently that if you're going to take the test, you can submit a ticket to Salesforce to let them know you're a non-native English speaker, and they'll give you extra time on your test. So for those of you that don't know about that, I'm a native English speaker, so I'm out of luck there. But I was recently speaking to somebody that was going to take a test, and he was telling me about that. So I wanted to make sure if it wasn't shared in the chat that I shared that, because I thought that was a key piece of information, especially for anyone that falls into that group.
Yeah,
They'll do that if you have learning disabilities or major test anxiety as well. So
oh shoot, major test anxiety. I fall into that group for sure.
Major, like documented major.
Oh, I don't have it documented. Okay, so not so much.
All right.
So, sorry.
Go ahead, Orlando.
I was taking part of that non-native English conversation in the chat. I'm a non-native English speaker. I bet nobody could tell. And it never occurred to me that that there was even the possibility, or there isn't more like of you taking the test in other languages other than English. I will never have thought of taking the test in Spanish. I was telling in the chat that is because I use English for work and for technology, that switching to Spanish will be hard for me because a lot of terms are just like you use them in English, and there's either not a literal direct translation of something, or it's just you don't use it, so it's hard for you to remember. So yeah, I think I will struggle more. But oh yeah, that's very interesting that you can ask for more time if you don't feel quite comfortable in English.
So our next question. So you've all gotten certified. Salesforce has us do maintenance. What do you think of maintenance? What do you find easy? What do you find difficult? How do you approach it? So on the topic of maintaining that certification. And I'm going to skip Armando, because he hasn't had to do that yet.
I guess I'll go first. So I've experienced kind of both forms of the maintenance, because they used to have you go through like Web Assessor every release and take that little mini quiz, which was a handful of questions, and you got 3 attempts. So if you didn't pass it, that was, and it wasn't, you didn't have to go to the proctored room, like it was open book. So if you didn't pass it, that's your own fault kind of thing. because there was no reason. You could go look up the answers if you wanted to. And then they switched it. Now they're doing it on Trailhead, and I think they did still kind of keep up with the each release, but they've changed it recently to now it's kind of once a year, and each certification kind of falls into their own timetable. Actually, I have to go do my maintenance, so thank you for reminding me, Linda. But yeah, I don't have any problem with it. I mean, you just go in and take it. And then I also recently got one of the data architecture and management designer, I think is what it's called. And that's being handled a little differently. I have to read up on it again, but I'm not at the point where I have to do the maintenance. So I'm going to deal with the maintenance to keep everything current first, and then go figure out what I need to do for that. So I don't think that those ones, like not all of the exams or maintenance exams are on Trailhead yet.
Yeah, I guess I'll go next. I think the maintenance, they feel a lot shorter than they used to be. And I haven't been doing too many maintenance over the years, but one of the things I try to do is just get it out of the way. Lori mentioned she's got a couple that she's trying to wrap up on, but I try to get it right out of the way and be done. I couldn't imagine with maybe some of those fellows out there and in the community have dozens of certifications and they got to do all those maintenances, how long that can take. So, and I think that's, for a lot of us trying to grow in our career, we'll have several certifications that we'll have to maintain. So to me, they feel a lot shorter bursts and quicker. I've heard of others maybe doing these in groups, team groups or whatever, and that would be fun. I don't have a team, so I do these on my own, right? But that'd be fun to do. But my take around the maintenance is as soon as the window opens, I try to get it on and take it right away, just so it's one and done. I don't have to think about it and forget. That's usually what could happen. And I don't know why it's changed. Maybe everyone else has more feedback on that, but they do feel shorter today than they used to in the past.
I'll just add some of the chat that I'm seeing. So in the past, you had to pay yearly to keep your maintenance. So that away, which is nice. And then there's some comments about people aren't sure whether they like that it went down to once a year. I think having it with each release kind of forced you to have to look at the release notes a little more, which was kind of nice. As well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Like once a year, it's maybe not enough for you to be on top of things, and by the time you need to do your maintenance, I don't know, maybe you're behind and you have to do a lot of catch up. But it's really cool that you can now do it in Trailhead and that it's free. One thing, and I'm not proposing that that this gets implemented, but sometimes I think that I would like to retry a test for one of the certifications that I already have to see how I change. No. Like
scaring
not
Laura.
to keep it, but to see if I got better. I hope.
Don't make me retake that test, Orlando. Don't make me do it.
Yeah, maybe a mock test.
So with the changeover to Trailhead, they've added this hands-on component to a number of the maintenance. What do you think of that piece of it? So it's no longer just multiple choice. Sometimes they have you actually kind of prove you know how to do something.
Hands-on is the best. I guess there's a difference between like theoretically having some knowledge and how to practically apply it. So I like that. That's why I like Trailhead. The hands-on challenges and badges are my favorite. I think like that quote, like tell me and I'll forget, or but if I do it, I'll learn, something like that.
Yeah, I like the hands-on. That's the best way I learn things too. I didn't realize that. I haven't been in the ecosystem long enough to know that you had to pay for these before. I couldn't imagine doing that in every release. So that's nice to know. So, but it is the hands-on. I don't think the hands-ons have been too difficult, right? They've been pretty simple. But yeah, for me, I would prefer getting my hands dirty than trying to read something, that I'll retain it better with actual getting, hands-on experience.
Orlando?
I'm not sure if it was Armando or Orlando, but I'll go since I have my
Your hand raised.
yeah. I forgot before, so before I forget again, I think since with me having 3 certification, the maintenance are manageable, but to echo what Mike was saying, I guess when you, like you guys, when you have more, much more, or tens of certification, I don't know if that will get hard to keep track of. I don't think there will be the case of for somebody having that many certifications to forget to do maintenance and lose one. That will be pretty sad, but I guess it will be harder to like handle. I hope to be able to have that struggle.
So those of you who have done designer exams, I think just Mike and Laura have done some of the architect exams. Are you doing those because you plan on working towards a certified technical architect? Or are there other reasons? And if you are, kind of, what's your timeline? How far do you think you're going to have to, how long do you think it's going to take you?
You want me to go first, Laura?
Sure, go ahead.
If you want, yeah, go for it.
I don't know. Like I said, my company, my organization doesn't require it. I just felt like that was the appropriate path to take another certification. I think I'm still learning of what that would look like. I feel like I'm in uncharted waters. I don't know what I don't know. And taking that designer cert was, there was a lot of material. There was a lot of reading involved versus the other certifications that I was, had experience with. But as far as a timeline, I don't have a timeline. It's whatever time permits. Sometimes if you during last year during COVID, I had some time on my hands. But on the opposite, like Orlando, working 10-hour days is a little bit different, right? And we all have things thrown at us, but yeah, I think for the heading towards the technical architect, or I hear so many names of the Arctic. It's a tongue twister for me too. So I just I'm eager to grow. It is probably what drives me the most, and the next certification that I want to take is, and I think Linda had mentioned, maybe Laura had taken it, is the data and management. They're getting longer in words, right? So that's the next one on the path. And I'm pointing towards that pyramid that we're always probably looking at, right, for the CTA. And I'm going to try and get Linda to study with me on that one because she hasn't taken it yet. So yeah, that's what I have as far as the
Orlando's also interested in that.
Yeah, 100%. Cool.
That one I didn't think was too bad. It's a lot of reading though. So I was laid off for a week. So that week I did a lot of reading and getting prepped for the exam. But as to your question, I've thought about the CTA. If you'd asked me a couple years ago, I would have said absolutely yes, I'm going to be doing this. But Over the last couple of years, I've kind of been thinking about, what do I want to do with my career? Do I want to, you know, do I want to get the CTA? Do I need to get it? So just still kind of evaluating that. I am working on the application architect side, so I've just got to get the sharing and visibility, which I'm planning on doing later this year. So I'll have that half of the pyramid done. And then I'm looking sort of at that system architect side and just, do I want to have that as part of my skill set in my career goals and those kinds of things? Because if not, do I need to get it? That kind of thing. Just trying to figure those things out, because CTA may be right for me, it may not be, and same with you. You got to kind of figure it out for yourself, because it is a lot of work and hours to get prepped for that. I know there's a few people that I follow on Twitter. Some are CTAs now, but seeing some of their posts and stuff during the journey, I went, wow, that's a lot of work and stress. And in my current life, might be a little difficult with 3 small children and working full time and everything, but maybe in a couple years when the kids are, in school and that little bit older, more self-sufficient. I've got my oldest is 5 and I've got 3-year-old twins, so they're a little more hands-on. But maybe in a couple years when they're more self-sufficient, that's the time to kind of reevaluate and say, you know what, yeah, maybe we could do this now.
Well, thanks, guys. All right, so I'm going to give us a 5-minute break because I'm sure our panelists have been talking a lot and need a drink of water or coffee or something, or whatever else. I'm going to post during this 5-minute break the link to the form for swag, so you can fill that out. It's pretty simple. There's 4 questions. 2 of them are yes, no, and 2 of them are providing information if you choose yes, so that I can include you in my mailing and or our drawing. So I will post that and we will start back up at 10:12.
All right.
Linda, in honor of our certified event here, I wore my certified shirt, but you just
Awesome.
can't see it because it's too loud.
No, that's awesome.
I have my certified mouse pad.
Nice. Yeah, I got this shirt actually not long after I got my first certification, and I will never wear it to a certification exam,
Oh no.
but I
Jinx.
will bring it with me, and it's like if I pass, then I wear it and I'm all like proud, but I'm worried that I'm jinxing myself if I wear
Yeah.
the certified shirt.
I got a certified shirt during Dreamforce. It was pretty cool. It had well, I forgot the name of the mascot, the
Hootie.
owl. Yeah.
I know them all.
Yeah. I don't know where it is though. I'm wearing my Cactus Force t-shirt.
Oh, nice. Yeah, my good luck charms for my exams is I'll usually wear one of my Salesforce shirts and one and a pair of Salesforce socks.
Nice.
Sometimes a sweatshirt, depends on if
Sure. the
cold or
weather.
not, but weather dependent.
So Tomek has the same shirt. I'm guessing the same shirt as Laura.
Either that or the Cactus Force.
Oh, that could be it.
So
Now,
about the question, and I didn't have this in my original list of questions, so this one's good. Do you have good luck charms or superstitions you do when you go to take a test?
I just shared mine. I can repeat it for anyone that might have been away, but
I never thought of that. I wouldn't consider myself very superstitious, but yeah, I concur with Laura. Wearing a certified garment, yeah, that doesn't sound like
no, yeah, you're afraid of that jinx too, huh, Orlando?
yeah. And what if I fail? I will feel bad.
Exactly. Yeah. Nope. That's it's like my husband's a huge Bills fan, and so he has very specific, like when for football when they're playing, he has a very specific items that he'll wear when they're playing because he wants them to win. And I'm like, he's like, I know that it really has no control over whether they win or lose, but this is my thing. Just let me do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So
I do have like certain I guess it will fall more in the category of tips, which Fabrice wanted to hear, but I don't see him
He's there.
anymore.
yeah, he's up there.
Oh, he is? Okay. Yeah, you know, in the testing centers they give you pen and paper. I make a mark each time. I'm pretty sure that I have an answer right, and when I hit 40, I'm like, I'm on the other side. Relax. You got it.
Yeah, I'll do. You can. That is one thing. Like the in-person exams, you get that piece of paper. You don't get. You're not allowed to use anything for the web ones or the online ones. So for those that like to use that, that might kind of sway your decision one way or the other. I never used the paper before, so what really wasn't a bother until the PD1 exam, and I really wished I had that piece of paper because, like, if you want to go back to on the test, you can mark the question like I want to review this. There's like a little checkbox. I wish they had a text box that you could type in, like that you would like if you're between like, okay, it's B or C, and I'm going to put B because I think that's the best answer, but I'd like to come back and review it. Well, if you don't have a way of like marking down that those were the ones you were between, like when you come back to review it, now you're looking at all the answers and not just the two that you were between.
That's a very good point. I never thought of that. Like, yeah, I mark questions for review because I want to revisit them. But then I'm like, which ones I was between, and I have to read them all again, and
Yeah.
it's like starting over.
So Mike, do you have any rituals for test taking that you follow?
No, I don't. I don't have any good luck charms.
Good breakfast.
A lot of coffee. And I didn't realize you can't have pen and paper for your home or online. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I'll be right.
So Armando, do you have any rituals for when you're taking tests that you make sure you do?
No, just make sure I eat. That way I'm not thinking about food while I'm taking the test.
Yep,
That's really it.
definitely.
Always a good tip. Full stomach. All right. So I'm trying to remember who has consultant-based exams. I think Laura has one. I'm imagining Mike has at least, I think, Sales Cloud. Yeah. So how different do you think those consultant exams are compared to like your admin, your PD1? And what do you think about the blend in them between technical ability and client guidance?
So I have Sales Cloud and Service Cloud. And it is interesting because like, your admin certs and platform app builder, all of those PD1 are going to get a little more technical. And this is that blend of there are technical questions that you need to be aware of and you need to make sure you understand how that cloud works. But there's also a lot of scenario based that they're, which would you recommend? And sometimes that's difficult because it's like, well, you're only giving me so much information in this question, or, and with Salesforce, there's so many different ways that you could solve the same business problem. And there might be one little caveat that you need to worry about, that this is why I would do it this way because of a particular limit or a particular, automation that would need to be used that, you wouldn't be able to do one way over the other. So that was interesting with those kinds of questions. So that really played into that understanding of, working with your client. So I don't do consulting. All my clients are the employees of the company, but it kind of falls into that same bucket. It's solutioning with them, those things that we're already doing. And it's almost a way of working some of that hands-on pieces, not from a technical aspect, but those other parts of the job into it. So I did find that interesting. And it's a little more difficult to study for that kind of stuff. And there's a handful of ones where they'll ask like, using this type of, process. And if you're not fully aware of like what the cycles are during that consulting process, it's a little bit more difficult to answer. So I did wish there was some more resources on that, or maybe I just wasn't finding the right ones, because they're like, if you're using, it like kind of that agile versus waterfall sort of processes, there are certain consulting and development processes that they ask you about. There weren't a ton of those questions, so I didn't feel like, me not finding and studying that resource would have made me fail. But it is a lot different than those more technical exams.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't taken a consultant test yet, but I started studying for one for Sales Cloud, and wow, I think it's the hardest material that I've studied, especially because there was a lot of questions of Salesforce product that we plain just didn't use at work, so I had no experience on them, and there's just a lot. Yeah, those are interesting, and like Sebastian was saying, there's a lot of consulting engagement for. I mean, it makes sense, right? But yeah, it's one of the things that being more technical, like I consider myself, I don't stop to think a lot on that type of thing.
You guys are gonna hear it.
So we'll have some background noise. It's okay.
My 3-year-old's throwing a little fit. Probably have to put that one on TikTok. But yeah, I've taken the Sales Cloud certification. I don't have anything maybe different to add to that. Just, there is a lot of scenario-based questions, and same with the designer and the visibility exam had a lot of scenarios. So it felt like a consultant type of exam because there were a lot of scenario-based exam or questions around those. So the technical piece versus the scenario-based questions. It's different to kind of shift gears, right, and get in those different mindsets. Yeah, that's the only thing I have to add to that piece.
All right. So the big question, what do you plan on doing next?
I plan on doing the platform app developer and then platform developer 1. Those are on my next to do.
Laura?
My next one is the sharing invisibility. So I don't remember what the full name. They're all so long now. Armando, I want to recommend also doing the advanced admin. Probably do it relatively close to your platform, or no, the app builder, because there's a lot of overlap between those two. So you've already done the studying for one, you're not that far off from the other. So that was a piece of advice somebody gave me, and I agree with it. Unfortunately, just due to timing, I wasn't able to take them close together, but I would agree there is a lot of overlap between those two exams.
Thank you.
Orlando, what's next? What's your next plan for certification?
So for sure, retake JavaScript 1, and then I will start my journey on getting those designer certification. I'm planning to join Linda's study group for.
Oh, now I have a study group. Well, that's good.
For the data management cert.
Yeah, we heard it. It's recorded. It's on record.
Yeah, it's official. Yeah, I don't know why. I think I fancy myself as like good at data, or at least I like data. So that's why I'm choosing that one first over visibility and what is it? Visibility and permissions, something like that. So yeah, that's
the next one on my list too, Linda, is the data and management, because I can't remember all the words to these words or certifications, but I don't have no idea what that entails and involves. But I'm gonna stick to my routine and go for the next one.
For the data and visibility one, I found that the trail mix was actually really good for that. The reading material they had in there really fell in line with the study guide. But just check the links when you click on them, because like when I did it, it was sending me to the documentation for the previous release. So I just had to do a quick okay, I know what I'm looking for, and I just did a Google search for what is the current release. So they just hadn't had a chance to update the links for a couple of the documents, but I actually found that one was helpful. The platform developer one, I didn't find the trailhead as helpful. Like it was good beginner stuff, but I feel like it missed a lot of sections of the test. So I would definitely do, if trailhead's something that you like to do, get that hands-on, which I love it. But I would do additional badges around those topics of the test.
All right. So if you had a do-over, what would you do differently? I gave them all this question before so they could think about it, because I know you, when you're propped with it, you can't think about it that quickly.
I think I will like to follow Laura's advice and take advanced admin after my app builder cert. I did take the progression of admin, app builder, developer. Maybe I should have included that one in between.
I guess I'll go next. I've never kind of got really involved in study groups. I think that would be a lot of fun and just a different perspective. One of the things I would do differently, and I learned this during PD1, is maybe reaching out to a mentor or someone who has experience in that area, not necessarily trying to tell you what's on the exam, but it's good to know going in of key areas. And there might be things that, like Laura had mentioned, like you're right, on the PD1, it felt like the trailhead didn't have what I needed out of the exam, and I needed to go outside and find more resources for that. And so what was really helpful early on, well, towards the end of that for PD1, was reaching out to Linda and just kind of diving into those deeper areas that I didn't have a strong knowledge base on. And I probably will do that sooner. And that would probably help with getting involved with maybe a study group and just brainstorming and thinking about things that I haven't thought about yet, or have an understanding that I don't have, that getting that out of a study group might be available for me. So that's probably what I would do differently. I've tried jumping on the study cohort groups that they have for the specific exam. I just lately I haven't seen a lot of collaboration or a lot of involvement in those. And maybe I need to be a little bit more hands-on and do more outreach within that group. But those cohorts, I probably want to see what's available as far as more resources outside of that as well. So
I think if I could get a do-over, it would be my first attempt at the PD1. I don't think I know I wasn't as prepared. Just even going into it, I knew I wasn't prepared enough for it. I wish I had gotten the focus on force exams to kind of practice for it a little bit, and done a little more prep work. I think I wish that I had done that. But yeah, I wanted to just at least get in there and take it, because I had that voucher from doing the boot camp, and just was like, well, let's at least get in there and take it and see, where I'm at. Because so the first certification test I ever took, that was when they just did, it was pass or fail, and that was all you got the answer for. And then when they changed it to, they'll give you the percentage of, like, here's the percentage of questions you got right for each section. I think that was more helpful with, because after failing that PD1, I was able to go, okay, really, where do I need to focus my time more? And then I was super mad that, like, I missed a question in fundamentals, because I was like, really, it's not even necessarily a developer question and I missed it. So but I think that that's helpful. I'm glad they've started doing that with the exams, because it, you know, when I pass, I don't care. I don't pay attention to it. But yeah, if you fail, that's a great kind of gut check. Where do I need to spend a little more time studying?
For me, I think breaking down that exam guide sooner. I don't think I broke it down. I don't even think I looked at it the first time I took the test. But once I looked at that and I really understood that guide that they're giving you and what the test is going to be consisting of, I think that gave me a better understanding of what I need to learn. So probably diving into that a little sooner. That's what I would have did better, and what I'll do better next time.
Cool. So the last question I had was a little more fun. So maybe not. So it was a rank order. So you've got trailhead badges, certification, and work experience. Where would you rank those in terms of either how you feel, where you feel you're at, or what you think people need in our ecosystem? Your choice.
Yeah, Linda, I'll go on this one. I think number one for me, what if it wasn't for the certification, I wouldn't be able to get my foot in the door, right? So, you know, I'm you know, putting that at the top for me, and then experience comes second with that, and that's the hard part, right? Is how do you get that experience? And me coming from that non-technical background and getting that experience, I had a very unique situation where I was able to get some hands-on experience and be able to put that on the resume. So, you know, those two are very close in hand. You know, you kind of need one or the, you know, you need both in a way to get your foot in the door. And if you're coming from these definitely a career shift. And then three, you know, the last one is the badges. Those are fun. I like doing the badges. I like jumping on Trailhead. So that's probably how I'd rank it out for me.
I could go next. I can say that everything helps. The badges, I put everything on my resume, the badges, the certifications, my boot camps, and really being enthusiastic and really wanting to do this, you know, work with Salesforce. They see your passion for the platform and your passion to learn. It'll get your foot in the door. The certifications are going to help when they look and they see like, hey, you know, if you don't have no experience, you know, how do we know you even know anything about this ecosystem? So the certifications are definitely going to help with that. If you're transitioning from a different industry or anything, the badges and the super badges shows that you actually completed some work. So I mean, some people, they say that stuff really doesn't matter, but I think it does. It shows that, you know, you got your hands wet, you know, you had those badges. Getting involved with your community group also, and letting them know that, you know, you're a part of this group, you're a part of the community. This is what you want to do, you know, show them what you got, you know. And then as soon as you get your chance, that's where you get to showcase your ability and really take it to the next level. So
I can go next if you want, Laura. Yeah, definitely, like Mike and Armando said, the certifications will help you get your foot on the door. I think they're easy to spot in your LinkedIn profile or resume. You have this many certifications and you have these ones that we're interested in, but at the end, in my experience, when the certifications will get you an interview, but once you're in an interview, I always talk about experience, what I've done at work. So it's hard to tell which one has more weight. They're both important. If I had to decide, I will say work experience to securing a position. And guess what I'm saying is the certifications will get you the chance for an interview or something like that. Certifications are really flashy. I love them. I want to get them all, but yeah, there's that difference. I will say. And Armando, you had a great point on super batches. Yeah, those are like certifications really, and I think Salesforce it's going towards that way. They're full on projects. So yeah, you're really showing that you have experience and you know how to apply the knowledge. I think that's very important. That's as good as work experience, pretty much, I will say.
Yeah, just to kind of feed off of everybody, it's almost cyclical that, Trailhead is, especially if you're new to Salesforce and, whether it's, the declarative development or the coding development, like that's what's going to kind of build that knowledge base for you, potentially give you a little bit of that experience with working in the platform, prepare you for those certifications. Yeah, if you're new to the world of Salesforce, getting one of those kind of, I'm going to call them base level certifications, but most companies are looking for, are you a certified administrator or do you have your PD1 cert? Like, it just depending on the career path you want to go down. There's a lot of that, but experience is important too. So especially for those beginner roles, like, if you're looking for a new job and I'm hiring for say a junior admin, if you've got your Salesforce certification but you don't really have any experience, you at least understand it, and that's fine. I'll do that. Or vice versa, you don't have your certification but you have a year or two of experience. Okay, you know what you're doing, and probably going to encourage you to get your certification. A lot of companies will reimburse you for them too. I've seen a mix. It just depends on when you ask. Some of my companies will reimburse me, and but there's a couple of certifications that I got that they were not going to reimburse for whatever reason. I'm like, well, I don't care. I'm getting it anyway. But I do feel like it's very cyclical. To say one is necessarily more important than the other, I think it depends on what you're doing. If you're trying to learn and grow your skills, Trailhead's going to be the most important, because that's where you're going to pick that up and you can go into one of your playgrounds and try it out, do that. Experience you're going to get on the job. If you can't get the job, then it's hard to get the experience, but those and the certifications can sometimes help you, like Orlando said, get that first interview, because they're like, you're checking that box. Okay, they have their certification, let's go.
I did see in the chat people were asking about how do you find support study groups. Twitter, I often see them posted there. User groups like this, saying, hey, I want to study for this exam. Is there anyone else who's also interested and would love to hook up and study together? The other resource out there, especially if you're working towards CTA, the Ladies Be Architect group. You do not have to be female. Just an ally is, at least helpful. They do sponsor study groups and have monthly study meetings on various topics. And that's a great resource that's out there. Gemma and the group who lead that, Suzanne and I want to see Charlie. They really do a very thoughtful job when they put together those study sessions that they offer. And they're usually very focused on a topic within an individual exam. All right, so other questions? in the chat?
Linda, can I add a couple things?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I came from a non-technical job right before, I made it into this job, but a lot of things that helped me, like Linda said, was Twitter. Just start adding people from the Salesforce ecosystem. It doesn't matter who it is, you could reach out to them, direct message, just start adding people. Same thing on LinkedIn. Then when you connect your trailhead to your Twitter, show your badges on there. Let people see what you're doing. If you're having trouble, tweet it. That's really gonna get your networking just expanded. Pep Up Tech is great. If you're a minority, underrepresented individual, they will help you. They will give you the boot camp for free. You get a big project at the end, and they're just there to help you right along the way. The boot camp's not long, probably 10 weeks. They're very supportive. You'll get into a Slack group with all the alumni, and their study groups within that group itself. I could link you to a couple things if you need that, but Pep Up Tech, that was what helped me out a lot. And being a part of your community, your local communities, you could just join on Zoom from any community now. So that's really going to be helpful.
I'll
Definitely,
add in
definitely.
too, for veterans, the Merivis Vets Group is also a great resource, especially for study groups and training support as you're getting ready. So someone has asked, how do you get started on Salesforce in real world when most job positions ask for 2 or 3 years of experience?
Yeah, I was going to point Armando to that question. I think he's very well situated to answer that.
Yeah, like I said before, I did the work though. They tell me to go on Twitter, make a Twitter if you don't got it. Go on LinkedIn if you don't got it. Make a LinkedIn. Put everything that you're doing Salesforce related on there, and stay involved. Don't stop going. Push yourself. See how far you can go. If you have any trouble, there's so many people that are just nice and are willing to help. Yeah, and just don't give up. If this is what you want to do, you're gonna see a whole community of people that actually care and want to see you succeed. So just partner up. It don't have to be a big group. You could be just one person. That one person can help you to just meet anybody else, and just keep going. Do all the little things, like I said, the little badges, super badges. And let them know how passionate you are and if this is really what you want to do, and no experience, no work experience necessary. If this is really what you want to do, when you're in that interview, you're going to get it. The person, they'll know that this is what you want. Just let them feel that this is what you want to do with your life. This is which career path you want to take, and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, the one thing I'll add to that is, as far as the work experience, right? How do you get that? And I thought about that for quite a bit, coming from that non-tech background. And if the company you work for uses Salesforce, kind of leverage that. That's what I did. And so I reached out to the Salesforce team, the head that the manager that ran the Salesforce team. They asked me to get my certification. I got my certification, and I asked for assignments to work on, the very low level ones, right? Adding fields and all these things. But that's how I got my foot in the door. Was I had my certification, and then the company I work for used Salesforce. So they assigned me, gave me assignments, and I used that as my experience. That helped me tremendously, because that's probably, once you get your foot in the door, and Orlando mentioned it, you got to talk about your experience some way, shape, or form. And so I was able to leverage that during the process.
Yes, just yeah, it can be difficult. So if you're exactly what Mike said, if your company uses Salesforce, reach out to their team. Um, Sometimes just apply for it anyway. Like sometimes you can get through, or yeah, if you have experience as a user, but you also have your um, like a certification, you can kind of leverage that a little bit. Like, you know, I know what it's like to use the platform, and I have my certification, so I understand kind of what goes into the setup and maintenance of it. Um, yeah, it is kind of difficult sometimes, but when you don't have that experience, it, but um, this I just wanted to mention real quick because we were talking about resources and things with studying. One group is there's a Rad Women for coding. So you do have to either be, you have to identify as a woman. But so any women on our call, if you want to check that out, that I got involved with that because, I didn't have any coding experience, and I was worried about teaching myself. So Linda actually recommended that for me, and I was fortunate enough to get in. I think the first round I got waitlisted, but the second round I got into the class. And it was, I can't remember if it was 8 weeks or 10 weeks, but very helpful, teach you from the ground up. So you're not going to be doing anything advanced with your coding, but it's going to teach you all the key elements, and it's not going to get you 100% ready for that PD1 exam, but I think that class got me far more prepared for the Apex side of it, and then even working in the on the trailhead modules and the additional studying I was doing, like that was key for me because I thought they did a much better job of explaining how to code than the trailhead modules. I felt like a lot of those modules like expected you to already know a certain amount of things, and I'm like, I don't know anything about this. So and they had some good resources. There's actually a really good website. I've got to look it up. I'm having trouble finding it, but I'll post it on the developer community, Linda. That they referenced a lot of those articles as homework for us during that Rad Women.
Was it the Women Code Heroes?
Yes, thank you. Oh my gosh, I've been losing my mind. I'm like, it's something with women and heroes, and I can't find this website. Yeah,
So
the
it's-
Women Code Heroes, that one was really good for explaining a lot of how like the Apex encoding and that works. I thought that the person that runs that website did an excellent job with those. So that was a good resource.
That's from one of the founders of Rad Women, which
Is it? Okay.
so I don't want to cut anyone off, and I love that the conversation's continuing, but we only have officially 10 minutes left. So I'm going to let each of our panelists have a final comment. I'm going to then stop the recording, and we can continue conversation. I don't mind holding the Zoom open, but I definitely want to turn off the recording and let people relax a little, maybe in their conversation. So Armando, final thoughts.
Yes, I just want to add this too. If you have no experience, I know it might seem kind of lame, but when I went on my interview, I took my laptop with me. I was ready to pull it out and show my dev org and show them what I can do, what I've done in it. I didn't have to do that, but I was prepared to, because they don't know. They could see badges, they could see certs, but show me something that you did. So I had my computer ready, and I didn't have to, but I think that'd be a good tactic for people that didn't have any experience, just to show any employer, what you can do, how much you know, because really the person interviewing doesn't know more than you on the Salesforce stuff. So I just want to give everybody else, just thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. If you want to connect, we're here.
Thanks, Armando. Or Laura, final thoughts?
Yes, just when it comes to certifications, just don't give up. If you fail a test, we've all failed tests. And the people with more and more certifications that make you feel intimidated, that just means they've probably failed more times. So they've taken more attempts, they've taken, so just, yeah, don't give up. If you're having trouble, don't be afraid to reach out. That is the one thing that I will say when it comes to the Salesforce community, the Ohana, it doesn't matter where they are in the globe, they're willing to help. They'll answer your questions. You can be in a study group with somebody that's on the other side of the world, or, whatever it is. So yeah, also don't be afraid to reach out. You're not alone out there. So again, thank you for having me, Linda and Orlando, and thank you everyone for being here.
Okay, Michael. Mike, you
Sorry,
gotta.
I couldn't find my mute. Yeah, I had a great time this morning talking about this. I usually don't get too hands-on with meetings. Usually quiet and camera off and hiding in the background and just hearing and learning. But I had a lot of fun this morning talking about certifications, and I'm sure a lot of people could have added some value to this conversation. But yeah, I think all of us are on a Saturday morning. All of us are eager to grow and learn. We all have personal things with kids and anything involved in that. But I always, I tell my wife, because she's to shift from nursing over to technical is a complete 180, right? And I think she's jealous. She sees me wake up in the morning and I start my work day, and having patient care is, having her wanting to leave that industry is, kind of sad. But in a way, we got to do what's right for us as a family, right? And we have no office space. We took down our dining room, and I'm in our makeshift dining room, and so I don't know where she would go if she ever got into this industry. But my final thoughts is spread the word of anyone, friends and family member. I didn't mention I got an older brother that's looking at making the switch too, just because they see me on LinkedIn and sharing ideas and success stories, and I need to get better at Twitter. I'm not very good at doing things on Twitter. I'll have to sync up with Armando to learn a little bit about that. But yeah, all in all, I had a great time this morning, and it was an honor being on the call this morning. Thank you.
Orlando.
I'd like to follow up a little on the topic in the chat about experience. The IT industry is famous for asking for crazy years of experience, and there's even an ongoing meme of like companies asking for whatever years of experience in a technology that just existed since a year ago. So yeah, those are very relative, but I will say even for myself, looking for senior positions, which is what I was looking for. They will ask for 5+ years of experience, which I didn't have, but I think I had a lot of experience and did a lot of different things without having to necessarily have the time. And that is also true for somebody that is not in the Salesforce ecosystem. Salesforce, it's famous for and very popular for allowing people to switch careers from non-IT to IT careers. So yeah, like Laura said, apply anyway and see how you do. I'm notorious for always recommending people, family and friends, like, yeah, check Salesforce. If you want to try something new and you're looking for a new career, yeah, that definitely. And yeah, the community is amazing. We're part of it, and there are plenty of good reasons for it. It's so inviting. There are other IT communities that are definitely not as invited. Actually, they're kind of protected, and the Salesforce, the community, the Ohana, it's very giving. It's there's always somebody willing to share, to help, to advise, to mentor. So yeah, that's a big reason why I wanted to be part of the community, of the Salesforce community. And yeah, look us up in Twitter. We're always there. I'm not that great at Slack, but I'm good at Twitter.
Yeah, we can all share our handles if you want as well in the chat. I'm going to thank everyone for coming. Thank our panelists for this great discussion. This has been awesome. And I'm going to cut off the recording as soon as I remember how.